So we're going to have a discussion now because the last song touched on a subject that a lot of people don't talk about, DPDR. For the uninitiated, tell us what it is.
Well, it's the second scene that I did. It's probably, I've never met anybody who's had it.
Yeah, me neither.
It's basically when you leave your body, you disassociate, fly out of your body. I mean, when I had it, I was like 10 or 11, and it didn't have a term. I only found out about 6 years ago. I mean, I've had it a couple of times in my life, but I just thought I was going mad. And it's usually after a period of severe trauma, and you just basically fly out of your body. For me, it started happening at night times when I used to go to bed, and I would just basically fly out of my body, and I'd be looking down on my body, and so then I wouldn't sleep at night because I was afraid of leaving my body. And then when I looked in the mirror as well, I wasn't actually behind my face, I was looking at myself on the side. But yes, as I say, it's got a term now, but back in my day, it was just, you're going mad, deal with it. So, you could...
What about your experience, Sacha?
It's funny how you say for you it started at kind of night times as well, because that was the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it would just be, an occasional night where I'm trying to go to sleep and then suddenly I'm just not, it's just such a strange feeling. It's just suddenly like I'm not really in my body anymore and nothing really feels real. And like, so that's where the lyrics in the song, things like the trying to find pressure and the cold hard walls kind of thing, because it's that, I've since learned that the kind of term for that is grounding, but it was something instinctive that I was just trying to do, just trying to like make myself cold, feel hard things to be like, it's real, I'm real.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange.
I did it with my dancing, my Irish dancing. I tapped and tapped and tapped and just go down and make myself sweat and tap and tap, and that made me feel, but I didn't know, like you say, instinctively, when you said about the wall.
Did you share your kind of feelings or your experiences with anyone at the time?
Well, yeah, I mean, I eventually told my mum, who obviously was really concerned but didn't really know what it was. And obviously, the worst thing was I wasn't sleeping, so I was getting very ill, and I wouldn't go in the bathroom because I was scared to look in the mirror, because it freaked me out. So my mum brought me to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed sleeping tablets at the time.
Good one.
Yeah. Well, it was his thing was, well, she's got to sleep. She's got to sleep. That's going to make her better, type of thing. But I think it's interesting because instinctively, as a kind of 10, I was like 10 and a half, 11, I knew that I shouldn't take those tablets because I knew they were going to make me feel. I was scared they were going to make me feel more woozy, so I used to pretend to take them and then stick them in the bedside cabinet. But because there was no information on it then, I'm a bit older than you. Back in the old days.
I mean, it sounds like it's a kind of hallucination to the power of 10, because you feel your very being at risk. You can't write it off as I'm just saying things, Sacha.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, it took me a while to tell anyone as well, and took me a while to find that there was sort of this term for it. And I mean, even now there are like so many terms for the different, like there are different terms used by different organizations, and there are so many kind of different symptoms that they're trying to bring together under one umbrella. So it's still quite far behind other mental health issues. And I mean, that says something, because mental health, awareness and treatment and the dialogue is really struggling. But no, it took me a while because it, like you, I was just like, I didn't think I knew it was weird, I didn't think it was a thing. I thought I was just a bit mad. Like it was just a bit crazy. So I was like, oh. And then because I experienced it in episodes, it was horrible when I was in it and scary. But then because they ended, I was like, oh, okay, let's forget about that. Yeah, it'll come back, but then I'll just do the same. So,
I mean, I went to the doctor the second time I had it when I was older, and it was actually quite a good doctor. And he was saying, you know, it's like this, you know, the old term, beside yourself with grief.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been around for a long time that when people, you know, are in this extreme trauma, they just are beside themselves. That's why the term is there. It's an old term, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And how is it, you know, managed once you kind of get a handle on what it is, Maria?
Well, I mean, for me, it's physical exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I first got it. It wasn't even recognised, so I just danced myself out of it. And now, and I've had it again since. And I can sometimes feel periods under, you know, when I'm severely, you know, anxious or stressed. I can feel this kind of feeling that it's going to happen.
I used to dance a lot more. I need to get back to that because I have a feeling that would help. No, but I think that's a thing that comes up a lot with these like grounding techniques. Once I learned that, I could then feel more in control of it. And a lot of the times I was doing the same thing, but because I knew what was happening and I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it, and that it was helping somewhat, I felt a lot more in control. And then there were some like sort of grounding techniques that I used to do that I knew weren't helpful or weren't particularly healthy, and so I could stop myself from doing those and find some more healthy things. And I'm really lucky in that I've found you know, a few resources for it, and I found a charity that I volunteer for. Little shout out to Unreal UK. I think they're the UK's only charity for, like, specifically dedicated to DPDR is the term that they use for it. And I was really, just really lucky that I found them and their resources, their websites. And now that I get to volunteer and take part and help others and meet some more people, granted so far only online, but that's obviously really helpful because then you can share what works for each other, and that might then help other people.